Welcome back to another edition of Research Fantasy presents our MLB DFS pitcher picks for Friday, April 7th, 2017. In full disclosure, this looks to be another awful slate of pitching. Got excited when I saw Max Scherzer, got excited when I saw Madison Bumgarner, lost all excitement when I realized that they were not pitching on the evening slate, which is where the money's at, which is what we're always going to focus on. So, no pitcher on this slate to me after doing my research for a few hours last night and crying myself to sleep eventually. Every pitcher on this slate really has some kind of a red flag. So, it's going to be interesting to see how things pan out. I'm going to take a few different approaches here. First, let's go with Francisco Liriano, 8K on FanDuel. This is going to be another day on both sites where really you're going to be able to do whatever you want in terms of constructing your roster. There's not going to be a ton of limitations. Liriano has some good parts to his game. He can strike batters out. He doesn't really profile as being the kind of pitcher that's necessarily going to absolutely screw you over. But ultimately, the reason he makes this list tonight is because he is playing the Tampa Bay Rays. They just cannot seem to get it together. His opposition is Matt Andriese. I think that Toronto should be able to get the job done against him, but really we just haven't seen these Blue Jay bats put the games together. Like, okay, great, Kendrys Morales hit a grand slam yesterday, but it wasn't like, I'd rather see them put together 2 and 3 run innings where they're not hitting home runs, but they're hitting double, single, stolen bases, just showing you that they don't need Blake Snell to walk 2 guys or give up an infield single because of a bad fielding decision or something like that. So there is some concern. There are some reservations there. Andriese doesn't really check off a ton of bad boxes. I mean, he held hitters to a reasonable WOBA last year, and I know that WOBA isn't predictive, it's reflective, but you're looking at past stats anyway, so I don't know. I mean, we could use other stats that they say are predictive, but what happens when those don't work? I mean, anyway, I'm going to have some interest in Liriano. At 6,500, you're not going to stop me from using some Zack Wheeler against the Miami Marlins. Really, the Marlins are going to be one of those death by paper cut teams. I said that in one of the videos on Monday about JT Realmuto. I liked him as a play because I thought he was going to be able to dink and dunk and get. He hit a home run and had a really nice day. But the moral of the story is, for the most part, this is a team that if you can mitigate them getting on base, you're going to have a good outing. But it's going to favor pitchers with good control, you know, the ability to stop runners from getting on base. Because the Mets team is not that great either. They're going to be facing a left-hander tonight, and that limits the bats in the lineup. Wei-Yin Chen is not a good pitcher, so you're going to have to hope that Wilmer Flores, Yoenis Cespedes, Neil Walker from the right side of the plate, a lot of these guys are able to put some runs on the board, and I'm confident they can. But the biggest question with Wheeler is, what do we get? I mean, it's been like a year and a half since we've seen him pitch at the big league level, and I think he's going to be good, and this is a great matchup to start him off with because it's not a totally dangerous lineup in the Marlins, and 6,500 is just far too cheap. If you could compare him to Fantasy Draft or DraftKings, where he's like the second or third highest priced pitcher, I mean, you're getting a substantial discount on him here, so I don't mind a little Zack Wheeler. One guy that really has my interest peaked is Luis Severino, 5,400, New York Yankees pitching against a completely up or a completely down Baltimore Orioles lineup. I mean, I've followed prospects in the past because I have dabbled in collecting prospects in the baseball card world. Severino was a major, big-time prospect, could have been the Yankees' next big pitcher, still could. I mean, he had 1 year in the majors. There's nothing saying that you can use that 1 year of data we have on him to completely rule out the fact that he could end up being an elite pitcher, but it just really wasn't a good stroke of confidence to see how he did in year one. However, I do think that Baltimore is a team like the Astros where they're either completely up or they're completely down. And if Severino has his stuff on, which he very well could at the beginning of the year, I do think he possesses enough upside in fantasy terms to pay off that low price, but also to shut down the Baltimore lineup. I think there's a few guys here, specifically Machado and Trumbo, who could give him some problems. But overall, I think I'm okay with Severino when I look at some of the other pitchers and just know that I want to stay away from them. Severino to me is like James Shields was to me yesterday. I either mentioned in my article or on the video. I think I mentioned on the video when talking about Victor Martinez. Shields was a guy that I legitimately wanted to play yesterday because all my research said that he could be a good play. He doesn't profile horribly against the the Tigers, but ultimately I looked at a lot of the more advanced statistics and it said, no, he's going to get rattled by them. It just didn't happen. That's how I feel about Severino tonight. When I look at a lot of the advanced statistics, I say, okay, these Baltimore bats could really hit him around, but they might not. So, all right, our top 3 pitching options in tournaments: Francisco Liriano, Zack Wheeler, Luis Severino. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel below. Head over to researchfantasy.com. Sign up for our MLB mailing list. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter @ResearchAndWin. And join us again tomorrow.